Hello everyone. The two economic and political systems most people know today are capitalism and communism. In this episode, in a very simple manner, we will understand the history behind each of these systems, what each has to offer, and how they differ from each other. Let's start off by understanding capitalism. So, capitalism was not invented by a single person, but it developed during the time of medieval trade networks, sometime around the 16th century. At this time, when people opened their trading services and started becoming wealthier, topics like markets and private property rights became more important. This further occurred during the Industrial Revolution. Over time, as governments formed, they started organizing themselves around these capitalistic principles. Eventually, the system of capitalism arose, merging all these principles into a single economic and political system. This is the reason capitalism is defined as an economic system characterized by private ownership of the means of production and the pursuit of profit through competition in a free market. However, in converse, communism is defined as a socio-economic system based on the abolition of private property and the common ownership of the means of production, aiming for a classless society where resources are distributed according to the need. But before we compare these two systems, let's also have a look behind the history of communism. Unlike capitalism, communism was developed as an ideology by two individuals, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, in the mid-19th century. But why did they make communism? Well, they felt in capitalism, workers were exploited by the rich. So, they envisioned a classless society where all wealth and resources were shared equally amongst all members. Leaders like Vladimir Lenin tried to implement these communist principles to establish communist states. Now let's look at the features each system has to offer. Under capitalism, private ownership is prioritized. All resources, businesses, and property are under private control. Distinctively, under communism, all resources, means of production, and property are under the government and state control. Under capitalism, there exists a market economy where prices and production is directly linked to the supply and demand. Conversely, in communism, there exists a planned economy where all economic decisions, prices, and production are under government and state control. Under capitalism, businesses prioritize profits, while in communism, the government seeks to improve equality and the distribution of resources amongst the people. Already, we can see a common pattern from these facts. In most ways, capitalism and communism are inverses of each other. Capitalism is often associated with democratic political systems where individuals have political rights and freedoms, which includes the right to vote and participation in the decision-making process. On the other hand, communist ideology is often linked with authoritarian governance, where political power is centralized in the hands of the state or a single ruling party. It's also important to note that none of these systems are perfect. Each has some disadvantages. For capitalism, the disadvantages remain economic inequality, monopoly of power, and the exploitation of labor. Under communism, political suppression, human rights, and poor economic performance are the disadvantages. So, the question remains, which system is the better one? Well, to try to answer this question, let's look at some other characteristics of capitalism and communism. In terms of governance, capitalism prioritizes freedom of individuals. Communism focuses on equality of all citizens and in the process, to some extent, restricts individual freedoms. In terms of innovation and creativity, capitalism integrates a competitive nature among citizens, resulting in innovation, entrepreneurship, and technological advancements. Communism doesn't have this competitive nature, resulting in less innovation and risk-taking. However, some still argue that in a planned and structured economy under communism, resources are allocated more efficiently, addressing priorities and needs, also leading to innovation. So there doesn't exist a clear answer to the question of which system is better. Different societies may prioritize different aspects of governance and economics based on their unique values, goals, and circumstances. That's it for this episode, and I hope this episode helped you understand the key features and the details of each of these two political systems in a very brief and simple manner. Thank you for listening.